You know what I'm excited for? When I'm watching the Discord channel scroll through, and Rich is just thoroughly pissed off.
Hello world, and welcome back to Gridiron Gamble, the only podcast that puts its money where its mouth is. I'm your host, Rich Ron, and I'm joined by two members of the collective, Donnie, DP Peters, and the resident moose himself, Mo Nuwara. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Listeners, rate and review on your podcatcher of choice. 5 stars only. Like Amari Cooper, the man, Bills, Brett's Buffalo Bills.
The Bills make me wanna
Desperately need to call. I've been telling him all season, somebody pick up the phone, call Amari. And especially now because Gabe Davis and something Shavers both tore their ACL last week in a victory against the Jaguars. And there's nobody left. They're forced to play Keon Coleman now. They cannot bench Keon Coleman. He must be on the field this weekend. They're down to nobody. It is
well, whose fault is that?
That they have no receivers?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hopefully Josh Allen is
Brandon Beane
in the hospital apologizing to Gabe Davis, fucking asshole, just leading him into just leg-destroying hits. Nice work, Josh. You're doing great.
It's the playoffs, man. If you got to throw a hospital ball, you got to throw a hospital ball. It is the divisional weekend. If you listened last week, you probably did pretty well. I was convinced on the pod to fire Panthers plus 10.5, put that in the account literally while we were potting. In addition, the Niners as well. I was on the fence about that game, and then I was pushing in that direction, and then somehow it steamed out to 6? Question mark? People with influential money steamed that one out to 6. So we had a taste of that and the money bet line as well. So let's keep it rolling here. Divisional weekend, 4 games on tap, starting with those aforementioned Buffalo Bills, who travel to Denver to take on Bo Nix, ODB's Bo Nix, and the Broncos. This one opened with the Bills as road favorites in some places, but I think consistently now we are seeing the Denver Broncos as short home favorites, around minus 1.5, total of 45.5. The 2 AFC games, the bets that I have in real life are not applicable because I bet the Broncos as moneyline dogs, very slight moneyline dogs at the opener. And I also bet the Patriots minus 2.5, laying minus 118. So the bets that I already have in my account, unfortunately, don't apply to y'all. But this game, flipping between 1.5, it's not super meaningful. And I think it is more of a reaction to some of those Buffalo injuries. But when I posted that, I thought it was crazy that the Denver were home dogs. Mo, you didn't think it was as crazy, but you still are favoring Denver in this spot.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Denver less than 3 was right. I still think that way. So I think the market moving back towards them is correct. They're pretty similar teams in overall strength, I think. I mean, but then you just have Denver healthier, Denver at home, Denver off a bye. I mean, everything situational is in favor of Denver. It was even kind of like 1.5 buys. I mean, you know, kind of an exhibition game against the Chargers type of deal.
People were pointing to that Chargers game, and they're like, why weren't they more dominant? And I was like, because they knew they were playing Trey Lance, and they just kind of put their uniforms on and went out and walked through the game.
Yeah, I just think like Denver's in just a better situation here because, you know, it's just all of that stuff. That said, it's still a quarterback I don't trust. It's still a team that doesn't really have any history of winning in the playoffs recently, which makes things difficult, obviously. I mean, it just seems like a game where if I had to bet something, I would probably bet the under. I know that Denver's offense has thrived at times this year against some of the weaker defenses that they faced, and I think Buffalo definitely qualifies. That being said, how aggressive will they be? I don't know. And the Bills played okay on defense last week. I think that one bet that I like here is Josh Allen over 19.5 completions. They really couldn't run the ball on Jacksonville. This is a better defense than Jacksonville. So isn't this just going to be a million Shakir targets, swing past City, screens, shield your eyes, Matt Clark? But the ADOT is going to be low, I think, in this game. I just don't. What are they going to do? I mean, throw downfield against Patrick Surtain? Probably not. I just think it's going to be a lot of shorter stuff. So I do like that look. I think over 19.5 completions was the slight underdog side. I think it was minus 104 on the over or something. So the under was the favor, or the under was the favored side here. So I think that's a decent prop. I mean, it's just a spot where I'm not that excited about the main markets.
Everyone is going to point to the quarterback matchup between Josh Allen and Bo Nix, but overall the box was not very favorable for the Bills last week, and all the Jaguars needed to do to win that game was to force one fourth quarter punt, right? If they just don't get scored on every single Bills possession in the fourth quarter, they win. That's basically what that game comes down to. And while the Jags unit was grading out pretty well, Mo, we were talking about this in the Discord, bit.ly/Discord Moose, that you look at this Jaguars depth chart on defense, and it wasn't inspiring in any way, shape, or form. We were giving their DC a bunch of flowers. Whereas Denver just has a bunch of dudes at every single level. And on top of that, being at home, being off the bye, I just think it's going to be a tougher road for Josh in this game. DP put a pin on this contest. ODB, I don't know if he'll be excited to hear that we're all leaning Broncos, or if the gridiron mush is coming for his beloved Bo Nix.
Oh, the gridiron mush is always present. Okay, always. I mean, I guess just the last thing is, the Bills want to run the ball. They want to take Cook and they want to run it, and they're pretty successful at that. I think this Denver unit is pretty good. Of course, they're pretty well equipped to be able to stop the run, which in turn makes things a little bit more one-dimensional for Buffalo. And if they're down some pass catching options, if Josh Allen is in any way, shape, or form slightly less than being Superman out there, I mean, it just becomes extremely difficult for this Bills team. So, I think if you just want to believe in Josh Allen, you're probably going to pick the Bills here. But if you want to believe in the best team that's on the field and everything that lines up for them situationally, as Mo outlined, then you have to be on Denver.
We move to the nightcap on Saturday. Niners at Seahawks. If I remember correctly, this opened 7.5 in favor of Seattle, and there's been market support since for the Niners that has brought this down to a flat 7. I'm seeing a total of 45.5, and the handle indeed is 65% in favor of San Francisco. This is a rematch of a game that just happened, which was an under slogfest in which the Hawks won 13-3. But once again, a lot of momentum for what Shanahan and Saleh are doing in San Francisco with pretty much a MASH unit. There is some excitement about Fred Warner potentially coming back at some point with his 21-day window opening. I would personally be very, very, very surprised if it was in this game. But once again, this is a quarterback in the home team that's coming off the bye who in previous incarnations in the playoffs has struggled. Now, I'm very much on record saying that I think a light switched on for Sam in that Rams game where he was just nails down the stretch, but now it's big boy time. Now the lights are on. So I don't have an opinion on this game right away. I initially wanted to get interested in the over because I thought there would be way too much reflection on that previous game. And one, I think Seattle's offense could score a lot more than it did in the previous matchup, just because of how poor and how banged up this Niners defensive unit is. But with the defensive coach on Seattle's side, someone who might want to just keep it conservative, just get to next week, I couldn't pull the trigger on the over as well. So I'm lame, and I have absolutely no money, no action, no nothing in this game. DP, you like the dog. You like the traveling 49ers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I can quit this 49ers team. I don't know. They just, every single week, they just kind of seem to show up and do the damn thing. I mean, the offense is the offense, and I think it's pretty good. Obviously, without Kittle, it's going to be slightly less, but, they've been really plug and play all season on both sides of the ball, and you got to tip your cap to Shanahan and that coaching staff there. And honestly, I mean, listen, Rich, I know you brought up that Rams game. I got to see it from Sam Darnold when the lights are the brightest. I'm sorry, I cannot get out of my head him just completely shitting the bed when it matters the most. So why would he go do anything different here? Maybe it's not entirely shitting the bed, but maybe it's not playing up to the level that you have to be to, well, in this case, cover 7 points. I mean, that's hard. So, I mean, I don't know. This feels a bit rich. I know this 49ers team has, they're playing us off the street for all I care on defense. It's just ridiculous out there. But if the coaching staff is a little bit scared of Darnold, if Darnold's a little bit scared of everything and just kind of, dialing it back, I mean, that just benefits the defense. And I think this 49ers offense can put up points. I mean, I know Seattle's defense is obviously very good, but Shanahan can cook some stuff up. Brock Purdy can get it done. CMC's been great. So, yeah, I think 7 points is just quite a bit too high here.
Mo, I don't know if these are official bets, but when I asked you for your clicks, you said Niners and under. So what you got here?
Yeah, I already took some under at 45.5, so I definitely am on the oppo side of you. 45.5 cheap, like minus 105. Friend of the show, Steven Andrus, put that in the Discord. I liked it quite a bit. I thought the line would be multiple points lower. I'm just really surprised that the total... Why didn't it move after that 49ers game? It comes out same as the look ahead when Kittle goes down, Brock Purdy plays like an asshole. The Niners D is actually pretty feisty. It seemed really weird to me that it just opened at the same number. It's definitely moving that way.
There's a lot of Niners D feisty, or is Jalen Hurts
for sure.
just awful? It's just an awful quarterback.
I mean, it's some of both, obviously, but on paper they should have struggled, right? And they didn't. So I just think I'm surprised that this didn't open multiple points lower. I mean, looks like pretty good weather, so I get it, but in some senses. But yeah, I still think it's playable down to 45 already, and I still think it's okay to maybe play it down to 44. I mean, like you said in the Discord, I mean they're putting a fullback at wide receiver. That's a disaster, right? And then, I mean. The backup tight ends didn't do anything when they put them in. I know that you guys like to keep betting on something Tonjes. He didn't make a single play, okay? I mean, something Farrell dropped his only target. It wasn't a great throw that I'm remembering.
Farrell's like the Tin Man. That guy, the way he turned upfield, I was like, how is this guy a professional athlete?
Yeah, those guys did nothing for me. So I just, it's a good matchup for their defense as well, too, I think, kind of, in a sense. I mean, I know that, they have a lot of injuries, but a lot of those injuries are in the linebacking core. I don't think Seattle challenges your linebackers as much as some other teams do. They kind of don't run the ball at all because they suck at it. And then when they throw, they're usually throwing downfield to JSN. So I just don't think they, put your linebackers in as much of a bind as some of these other teams. So I like that from San Francisco's standpoint, and that's kind of why I also like Donnie. I do think the line is too high. I think I might take some Niners as well. Also, just a thing to look out for here. I don't know what's going on at left tackle for the Seahawks. I'm seeing their starter and second string both not practicing so far. That's a potential concern. I think overall, I'm just a little bit bearish on this offense, much like Donnie. I think we could see a conservative game plan in this spot. Just seems like a spot where they won't want to put a lot of pressure on Sam Darnold, for all the reasons Donnie mentioned. Why would they do that when they know their defense just put the stranglehold on this team last time out, right? So I thought under 234.5 passing looks pretty good to me. I mean, Darnold had a good game last time these teams played, and he had like 200 passing yards. So I just think the game plan, especially if they do decide to challenge these linebackers a little more by running, dumping off to the running backs, I'm not foreseeing a high volume game from Sam Darnold.
The Charles Cross injury is something to keep an eye on. I think my gut tells me it's just maintenance. We'll obviously get another report today on him here on Thursday. That'll be the final official injury report since it is a Saturday game. So if he is a full participant today, I think you can put those worries to bed. Yeah, I'm just very interested to see what this game looks like. Like, if the Hawks go out and march on the first drive, I think there might be like live opportunities to bet the Hawks, because I think there are outcomes where if the Seahawks offense performs as it has during the season, right? Like the team that was 5th in DVOA, 8th in EPA, I think there are blowouts in the range of outcomes for Seattle. But I think it comes down to whether or not Sam Darnold is out there pushing the ball downfield. And like Mo said, this team has its most success when JSN is making splash plays on those deep crossers or deep down the boundary. So if the Seahawks score first, I might be interested in getting involved and them perhaps pummeling a banged up Niners team that is kind of crawling to the finish line here with all these injuries, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But now you add George Kittle to the mix. Sunday early game. I got to take your temperature again. Donnie, is the blood pumping yet? Is there any feeling? There's nothing, like, not.
Donnie was excited for Drake May. He was excited.
Excited? You know what I'm excited for? When I'm watching the Discord channel scroll through during last week's games, and Rich is just thoroughly pissed off that the Patriots are back and winning. So that gets my blood pumping more than the actual game itself. Same thing. Friend of the pod, Gary Gates, same thing. Just thoroughly pissed off that the Patriots are back. I mean, it's like unbelievable. So yeah, it's kind of fun. I mean, Mo, I know you feel with the Chiefs too. Like, it's fun just to be up on top, be the bully, always be back. It's amazing.
I was very surprised that the Bills opened as road favorites. I was stunned that the Patriots opened under field goal favorites in this game, especially if there's any world where Nico Collins doesn't play receiver for the Texans on Sunday. How did the Texans compete in this game with this offense that has been a slog the entire season? They cannot run the ball. Their offensive line stinks. And Mo, we know this, CJ Stroud he's got that Jordan Love thing. CJ Stroud versus pressure is a totally different dude from CJ Stroud when he's protected. And if Milton Williams and these dudes up front for New England can create A-gap pressure and crash the pocket, then the Texans passing attack is just going to have no success. Obviously, this is out to 3.5 in favor of New England. I'm sure these books are having a terrible time getting anybody to buy into the Texans. Just an avalanche of money coming in on Drake May. So at 3.5, if you're late to the party and you're still interested in Patriots, I would honestly just bet alternates, right? Because the way that the Texans are so aggressive on defense and the way that Drake May is so successful throwing the ball downfield, like, the Patriots can hit some splash plays, score a bunch of points, and run it up on the Texans. I wouldn't just lay the 3.5. Mo, you're on the other side. You've got the dog. Tell us why.
Yeah, not one that I'm like super excited about. I was maybe excited if they played this game last week and they were 3.5, I would have fired the Texans for sure. But man, CJ Stroud has massively shaken my confidence. This is a spot where I like both quarterbacks to play much better than they played last week. So I actually think I'm going to fire the over here. It's sitting 41. I mean, 41, I was flabbergasted to see one this low. I know that the Texans, every game is a rock fight, but this Patriots defense is beatable, man. I mean, you can just see it in some of their metrics. I mean, the DVOA is terrible because of the schedule. I mean, they just haven't faced any good offenses, right? So it's just like, it really another, although outdoor game, good weather in the forecast. I mean, cold, but like no wind or anything like that. So, and just I just think you're getting a buy low spot on two quarterbacks who played pretty bad last week. Like Drake May, I think he should win MVP. And I think if those markets are still up and he's plus, that's insane. But yeah, he didn't have a great game. It wasn't like the worst ever, but he wasn't great. CJ probably was the worst ever. I've never seen him play a game that bad. Really surprised me that he struggled that much. I just think both quarterbacks kind of puked on themselves and they're going to play better. The Patriots kind of moved the ball at will against a tough Chargers defense. So the scoreboard kind of didn't reflect. I mean, they end up winning by a lot, but that was like a way closer game than it should have been for a lot of the way. So I think both offenses are probably going to be able to move the ball. I mean, the Texans are great, obviously, but they still run a scheme that's pretty vanilla, and the Patriots have an offensive coordinator who, although we've laughed at him plenty on this show with his head coaching journeys, he's still a very good offensive coordinator. So hopefully he can scheme some up. And yeah, Houston's offense has just been like fine down the stretch. I mean, I think even without Nico, I don't think Nico is as important as he would have been early in the season. The rookie receivers are playing better. We saw Christian Kirk, obviously, or Charlie Kirk, if you're Stephen A. Smith, have a big game last week. So, Woody Marks and Nick Chubb honestly was showing signs of life. So, there's enough weapons here to just 20 points. The bar is pretty low on the total here. Both teams get to 20 points, you're there. So I do like the over.
We are all Christian Kirk. DP, I buried the lead a little bit. Your excitement, your tempered excitement. It does make sense, though, that you also are leaning towards the dog.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I agree with Mo in that both quarterbacks, I think, should play better. One of them is going to be without their best weapon, and that's Nico Collins, which is a bit of a setback. That said, this Patriots offensive line against this Houston defensive front just screams issues for me. I mean, I don't like. I think they had issues last week. I mean, there was a couple turnovers in there for Drake May. They got to him a bunch of times. I mean, these guys are really, really, really good on the Texans side of the ball. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like specifically the left side with Will Campbell leading the charge there is getting highly overrated. I mean, if you watch that side of the line, Will Campbell just literally gets pushed back to Drake May every play. Yet people are like, this guy's amazing. Like, no, he's not that good. So I don't know. I just feel like it's going to be kind of just a close slugfest in this one. I mean, I expect CJ Stroud to play a little bit better and be able to score some more points. I know it's going to be more difficult without Collins, yes, but where Collins might take away from the offense, I think the defense going against this Patriots offense is going to make up for things. And then I think that there's just some issues with, or not issues, could be potential issues with the Texans understanding how Josh McDaniels is going to run this offense, because the Texans have former Patriots staffers on their team who worked under Josh McDaniels and know the entire scheme in and out. So can that present some problems? Is that part of the prep? Of course, that's going to be part of the prep. Hey, when we're in this, they're going to look to do this, all that sort of stuff. So situationally, I think that can be, kind of like a +1 for the Texans side. So yeah,
On the same line with my thought process that Drake might hit some deep shots, I pulled up some of the longest reception markets. I pulled up DraftKings just because it's quick on my phone. Obviously, a bunch of cowards not even lining Kyle Williams, grow a pair. So if Kyle Williams is lined, I would be interested. Guy played a third of the snaps last week and is their downfield receiver. I'd also be interested in Kayshon Boutte. Seeing a longest reception of 18 and a half yards for Boutte, who looks to be ready to go again this week and has the ability to get downfield, probably outside of Kyle Williams, their best separator on the team now that Diggs is kind of a low ADOT merchant. So I think those are some interesting looks in this game. Finally, the Sunday evening game, Rams at Bears. Both of them make that sound. The Rams are 3.5-point favorites at Soldier Field, total of 48.5. Market support for the beloved cardiac Bears. 65% of the handle is on Chicago. And so is every member of the collective. Like the other NFC game, I haven't put a wager in yet, but I'll go to Mo first again because Mo, the number one Stafford hater, I just want to allow him to dump on the Rams quarterback a little bit.
Yeah, he played like an asshole last week outdoors. Shocker. Anyways, yeah, this is another one where I'm just, it opened like around here, 3.5, right? And then just immediate Rams money pushes it up to 4.5. At that point, I'm like, okay, I'm definitely on the Bears. And then somebody smashes Bears, so now it's back to 3.5, close to 4. Seems like the Sharps like the Bears at 4.5 and the Rams at 3.5. I mean, I'm struggling with this one. I like the Bears too, but I'm also I'm looking at this and it's hard to see how they're getting stops when they couldn't really get a stop against the Packers. They had like 7 yards per play and just absolutely melted down on special teams. That being said, the Rams could melt down on special teams too. They suck on special teams. So, there's that. Unless the weather is truly terrible, it's really hard to see what the Bears are going to do on defense that's going to work here. I thought last week that the Panthers might be correlated with the over, and then I decided to be a coward and just bet the Panthers, and I'm regretting it, obviously. I think the same way in this game, that kind of the Bears are correlated with the over, because I think the times the Bears have success, it's probably going to be a shootout in this game. The fact that they are playing in freezing cold weather, I think does help the Bears, because it's just LA team that melted down in a cold weather game last year. I don't see any indication that Stafford is doing anything better this year in these sorts of situations. So, the Rams also, their offense really hasn't been destroyer of worlds since the first half of that Seattle game. So I don't know what's going on there necessarily, especially since they were a lot healthier, I think, against the Panthers, and kind of struggled for parts of that game against a pretty bad defense. This is a bad defense too, but it's a bad defense that has talent, at least, especially in the secondary. So I think they can challenge these receivers a bit more than the Panthers were able to. 13-mile-an-hour winds in the forecast seems like it favors a quarterback who can throw actually on the move a little bit, instead of Stafford. So, yeah, I'm also looking at I didn't give the props too deep of a dive here. I'm looking at some alt overs maybe even for this game if things get wild. DK will let you go up to 61.5, I think, plus 340 or so. Not that crazy to me to imagine both teams getting to 30. So I might look that way here, but I haven't locked in on anything yet.
It's funny. When you brought up you didn't think the Rams looked as good as they had earlier in the season. So in their season-long numbers, they're 7th in defense EPA. So on running backs don't matter. I did half the season, and then they fell down to 14th in defense EPA. And then I filtered it for just the last quarter of the regular season, 22nd in defense EPA. So the numbers support what your eyes are seeing in terms of that slide. I did see Poona Ford popped up as a limited participant with the elbow. He's limited, so he's probably going to go, but that guy has been so important to everything that the Rams are doing defensively. And then, of course, there's the Matthew Stafford thumb injury, right? Like, he banged his thumb on a dude, seemed to very much struggle throwing the ball after that. Now he's going to be playing at 18-degree temperatures with that wind, with that thumb. How does that hold up in the cold weather? I think I'm getting towards a Bears wager as we talk this out. DP, pile on. It's another collective selection with everyone on Chicago.
Yeah, the least confident in terms of my picks if I were to rank the four for this week. But I don't know. First of all, the Bears just always somehow do it, which is like I can't get that out of my freaking mind. It's just burned into my memory forever. Ben Johnson just absolutely cooks. So I know the Bears like to run the ball, but if the Rams are able to shut that down, which they can do, they have the talent up front to be able to do it, then I think Caleb's talent combined with Ben Johnson is enough to put up points and move the ball through the air against a Rams team that I think is susceptible to be passed on. This is going to be a tough place to play. I don't know if we would necessarily say that the Bears are, the Bears home field advantage is like the greatest thing in the world, but
Brett kept saying it in the Discord. He's like, I don't see anyone wearing a green shirt last week. Like, when they take wide shots, there was just like zero Packer fans in the crowd.
Well, if you're a Bears fan, your team is back. I understand. Like, you're selling out that stadium. Like, it's going to be crazy. So this is a dome team going from the West Coast, going to Chicago. Like, it's just, I don't know. Everything just lines up here. At some point, I think Matthew Stafford's going to kind of come back down to earth. I just feel like Mo, where under pressure, he's just a different quarterback than he is when he's not under pressure. He's older now. I get it. He's had a great career. He's awesome. But at some point, he's not going to be just standing back there in clean pockets and slinging the ball. And yeah, this, I don't know, 3.5 is a lot for me here on the road. Come on.
Yeah, I'm starting to be with you guys. And yeah, there's something dangerous about a dog who has 100% belief that the Bears going into this game from Ben Johnson on down are going to believe in their bones that they're going to win this game. And there's just something dangerous about a dog like that. Obviously they're much better offensively, but this reminds me of the two runs that the Jets went on in 09 and 10, where it was like, we never had the better team, obviously never had the better coach, better quarterback, but there's just something to that belief top down that when you step on the field, like, yeah, we're just gonna beat this team, right? Like there is something to that when it comes to like the fourth down play last week, or like these high leverage situations. Like, they're going to go out there and think that they're going to convert or have success on the play. So I think there is some intrinsic value to that. It's just gonna. I think this game, like Mo said, this game is way more about, can the Rams, who have been this dominant force on offense all season, does that translate in this game in Chicago in the cold? It seems like it didn't last week, right? This 10.5 point road favorite that needed every minute of that game to just win outright. So it didn't seem like they were the juggernaut that was promised last week. They're certainly going to need to play much better against an opponent like Chicago this week. Fun weekend of football. That's the thing about going into these playoffs where it's so wide open. Like, there are very few outcomes that I think would be shocking this weekend. I think we're in store for a phenomenal weekend of football, and I think that'll lead right into the conference championships and the Super Bowl. So go ahead and follow these guys on Twitter at Donnie_Peterson, at Mo Nuwara, NUWWARAH. I'm at Rich T. Ryan. Best of luck in your betting ventures. We'll be back next week. Peace.